All right, guys, welcome into an updated look at the full transfer portal ratings for 2023. They totally updated it. They totally changed the overall rankings. And guys, we've got more guys entering the portal, more players being rated. I do have to say, I looked at the 247 Sports site, which is what this is, compared to the On3 recruiting sites, and their overall ratings are completely different. So I'm just wanting to say that when I'm talking about these ratings, because you take a look at the number one overall player, Ernest Hausman, who is now committed to Michigan, he isn't even inside the top 50 on the On3 transfer ratings. So these are very subjective. They're not even close to the same, but I did want to look at some of the best players, and Michigan has gotten off to a really good start. They also have a very solid offensive guard, and I think they got another offensive tackle, Miles Hilton, from Stanford. So Michigan really hitting the portal. They maybe not have had the best recruiting class, but they're doing well in the portal. You can see Denver Harris, the former five-star last year from A&M, and we know he's dealt with some issues there. He's transferring. He's still rated a 96. Fentrell Cypress, the cornerback, very, very good player from Virginia. I know there's been a few teams in on him, including Ohio State. I haven't heard any rumors on Denver Harris personally. Devin Leary has been crystal ball to go to Kentucky. And guys, Kentucky is really investing into their football program. Devin Leary right now, I would agree he's the number one quarterback on the market. I would not agree that Grayson McCall should have the same ranking as Devin Leary. I think Devin Leary's just better. Personally, McCall is decent. He puts up good stats against bad teams. But when it comes to Grayson McCall, I have heard, maybe a team like Auburn could be interested in him, the transfer from Coastal Carolina. And the mind-blowing stat about Grayson McCall, he has 2 years of eligibility left. I thought he was like a fifth-year senior this year. I'm not even going to lie, I did. But apparently he has 2 years of eligibility left. Lovett, the receiver from Missouri, that's a tough loss for Missouri because they upped his ranking. And you can see that's a very solid player. We'll see. Maybe he goes to Colorado with Deion Sanders. There's been rumors about it. Bell, the tight end, is already going to Florida State. So that's a very nice get for FSU early on in the transfer portal cycle. Cohen, the interior offensive guard, looks like he's been crystal balled to Miami. We know Miami with their NIL collectives. They're really digging in. They've already got 2 offensive tackles, 5-star offensive tackles committed for the 2023 class. They're going to finish with a top 5 class. They're throwing money at everyone. And I respect it. They're trying to get their program back. You've got to do what you got to do. It is what it is. You can see Deion Sanders' son right here into the portal after his game yesterday. He played really well. They ended up losing, but looks like, he's already going to Colorado, obviously. I wonder what his transfer portal rating will be. Probably like at least, I'd say a 95. Hudson Card. Look, we know he's leaving Texas. He is a very solid quarterback being blocked right now by Quinn Ewers, who is a generational talent. We'll see if he can put it together. But Hudson Card would be a good pickup for a number of Power 5 schools. I do think he will be starting at a Power 5 program next year. McCullough, this kid has 4 years of eligibility left. I'm sure he won't use them all because he's really good and he'll probably be in the NFL in 2 years, but that is a great pickup. Just looking at some of these, this offensive tackle, Goodwin from Kentucky. So apparently the story with him is he was like almost a fringe 5-star offensive tackle, but he gained a bunch of weight his first year at Kentucky, and we'll see where he ends up going. Henderson, the interior offensive lineman, is transferring from Arizona State to Michigan. So Michigan has had a lot of success in the portal with these offensive linemen. Ra Thomas, the receiver from Mississippi State, is into the portal. Don't know if that has anything to do with the, really tragic situation there surrounding Mike Leach or not. Singer, a receiver from Arizona, pretty good receiver, has entered the portal as well. I don't know where he's going. Cornelius, the offensive guard from, how about, Rhode Island has entered the portal. I've seen he might visit Ohio State. We will see. This defensive lineman from Texas A&M, I thought I read somewhere he was going to Michigan State. I don't know if that was just a rumor, but I believe he might be going to Michigan State. We know Michigan State is very active when it comes to the transfer portal. Eric All, apparently there's some issues with Eric All in Michigan. His family is like bad-mouthing the program, so it's kind of a bad relationship there, but he's transferring to Iowa, and he is a solid pass catcher, one of the top tight ends in the portal. Dante Cephas looks like he's been crystal balled to Penn State. That would be a good pickup for them. Of course, Penn State now with the situation, Drew Aller probably starting next year, the former 5-star, is going to be really, really, hopefully, their future of the Penn State football program. Jermaine Byers from UTEP, another solid offensive tackle at a smaller school. He's entered. Colin Sheely is going to, is this Chip Kelly? Colin Sheely from Kent State, guys. They had a good offense, Kent State did. This kid is a dual threat. It looks like Chip Kelly found his quarterback. There were some rumors and some references. Maybe DJ Uiagalelei, who's rated number 20th, might go to UCLA. But it is looking like DJ probably goes out west, maybe to Oregon if Bo Nix leaves, which I think he will. Bo Nix right now, if you actually look at the mock drafts, is being projected, I think, right around the 3rd round. So it's like, to me, that's good enough to where I would leave, and maybe if you have a good interview, you become a 2nd-round pick. There's really no reason for Bo Nix to stay. He's not getting any younger. He just had a really good season. So you could be looking at DJ Uiagalelei maybe being a 1-year replacement at Oregon, but that is very risky. DJ is a unique talent. He would be a great, bigger dual threat if he's used properly. He has a really strong arm, but he really needs to be coached up. There's no doubt about that. Chris Marshall, so this kid was a 5-star. At part of that A&M class last year. TCU possibly. Wow. So Chris Marshall, the former 5-star, has got a lot of talent. Only 1 year with A&M. Transferring possibly to TCU. We know they're in the playoff. Holden, the receiver from Bama, looks like he's going to Oregon, so good pickup for them. He's a solid 4-star. Dylan Wade, another kind of, we're seeing these lower school good offensive tackles enter the portal. Dylan Wade is another one, solid 4-star. Would be a great pickup for any team that needs offensive tackle depth, any 5-star team. Stewart, wow, Josiah Stewart, an edge rusher from Coastal Carolina, enters the portal. That's a tough loss for them, and that would be a good pickup for someone, a Power 5 school, to add to their defense. Looks like a rangy kind of athletic pass rusher. Brendan Armstrong, very polarizing here because he had such a great year 2 years ago. This year was horrible. They rate him a 91. If Brendan Armstrong would have entered the transfer portal last year, I think his rating would have been like a 97. Like, that's how bad of a year he had this year, and it dropped him this low. But I would expect him. I wonder if Brendan Armstrong at a program like Coastal Carolina, I wonder if he'd be interested in that. Maybe going down. Imagine Brendan Armstrong in a MAC program. I don't know. Maybe he wants to go to a Power 5. I don't know. J.Q. Hardaway goes to Kentucky. Guys, Kentucky is really investing right now into their football program. They don't just want to be known as a basketball school. That's a good pickup. That is a cornerback that Cincinnati really liked, and he's transferring, obviously, because of the Luke Fickell situation. Tommy Brockermeyer, the former top 5 overall player from like 2 years ago. Crazy situation with this kid. He's been crystal balled to TCU. So that would be another big, in terms of like pickup for TCU. Brockermeyer apparently wasn't even the backup offensive tackle at Alabama. He was just a complete bust. Maybe he can find it. There's a reason he was a top 10 overall player and the number 1 overall tackle in the nation. He's got a really good build. This Fairweather, the FIU tight end, kind of a rangy athlete. I've talked about him before. He's in the portal. Morlock, the tight end from, I think this is Shorter College. Yeah, it is. It's like a, non-FBS team. He's going to FSU as well, so FSU really doing a good job right now. Thornton, the former top 100 overall player from Oregon in the portal. Mason Cobb. I was just really going to go over the top 30. And then there are some other kids like JoJo Early. He's already going to TCU. So TCU right now possibly adding two good receiving weapons. JoJo Early was a former top 100 player who basically immediately enters the portal. I'm sure the writing was on the wall at Alabama, if we're being honest. You're not going to transfer from Alabama after your first year or even your second year unless you know you're not going to be playing, because they've got such a potent offense. They recruit so well. So maybe he was a little bit overrated in high school, but still, if TCU can land these playmakers, maybe also Tommy Brockermeyer, coach him up a little bit, they could really have a good year in the portal. This linebacker from Oregon, former 5-star, who just got injured. I think he was injured his first 2 years. He had season-ending injuries with Oregon, and now maybe going to Arizona. We'll have to see. Dylan Johnson from Mississippi State, LJ Johnson, another Texas A&M transfer. You guys can just see some of these. There's Miles Hilton right there. Apparently, Miles Hilton, I believe, is going to Michigan. I thought I read that somewhere. It's just not updated. Theo Weiss, wow. This kid was a former 5-star, I think, and he's going to Missouri. So now Missouri has both him and Luther Burden, the number 1 overall receiver from 2020, I believe 2022. Tony Grimes, he was a former 5-star, or at least top 50 player. He's in the portal. Arland Bruce, I think that kid's actually really good. He's a receiver for Iowa, but Iowa, they just can't throw. It's really not the receiver's fault. So it'll be, he's like a possession type receiver. Pretty good player. So I just wanted to go over kind of the updated look, because they definitely updated the rankings and things like that. And I'm sure they'll still get updated even more, especially after the bowl season, especially after all of these New Year 6 teams play and have portal entries, because I'm sure there's going to be multiple portal entries. It's kind of interesting, like, I guess it's because they're playing for national titles, but like Georgia and Ohio State haven't had really anyone enter the portal, but Alabama has. And it's not like Alabama doesn't have another game. They do. But I guess because it's not a playoff semifinal game, Alabama players are entering the portal. And we're going to get a lot of players from Georgia enter the portal. We're going to get a lot of players from Ohio State enter the portal. And really, it's good news for those schools. If the kid's not good enough, it's in the kid's best interest, and it's in the school's best interest to have that spot freed up for either recruiting purposes or another transfer portal player. So we'll have to see what happens, but when it comes to this top 50, Michigan doing well, FSU with 2 players in the top 50 already committed, and Kentucky. Those would be my 3 teams right now early in the 2023 portal season, and also I guess Oklahoma. Because Oklahoma, they have gotten a few players. Oklahoma, Michigan, Florida State. I think Kentucky, if they land Devin Leary, certainly. Those are the teams that are really impressing right now when it comes to the transfer portal and really plugging spots and filling those, instant needs. We've seen Michigan do very well getting a center from the portal, and he becomes basically the best offensive lineman in football. So it's very important to fill position of needs, and the portal is definitely something that needs to be utilized, and I'm sure it will be. I've heard rumors about other teams and things like that, certain players that possibly could be going, but we will see. Either way, I just wanted to look over the top kind of 50 players in the initial rankings. There will be 5-stars, I'm sure, once more kids enter the portal. I'm guessing there'll probably be at least 4 or 5-star players, which is a 98 rating or better. Last year, there were I don't know how many, maybe 4. So we'll probably see some. There currently are none because it's really early in the portal season. We'll see. But guys, that's going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description.